welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If this is your first time, my name is Mamri and you are very, very welcome. This video, as you can tell already, is a reaction on President Macron's speech that he gave, I think 2 days ago. I have been seeing the speech is about 1 hour, but I thought it doesn't concern me until yesterday. I found it on Faso 7 and I decided to listen to it. And this is what he has to say about French and Africa. He had enough. He had enough of all the rumors and the social media bashing France. And now they have nothing in Africa. They ask them to pack their tools and leave. He has a lot to say about it. Families, please listen, and I'll be back. Thank you for your time.
And it's within this agenda of prosperity and new partnerships that I want to talk about Africa. And I want to do it there too. I'm very grateful for all the work you're doing, and I'd like to start by making it clear that we have an agenda that needs to be published. Obsessions with the past. I have made every effort, and will continue to do so, to look at historical, cultural and memorial issues. I believe we have done so with great sincerity in recent years. From the unprecedented work done on Algeria with the Stora Commission, to the speech given at one point by the minister in Thiago on Senegal, to the policy of restitution of works of art, in line with the Ouagadougou agenda I mentioned. We've changed this software profoundly. France looks at its past. It has named things and is seeking to adopt a scientific historiographical approach that is both uncomplicated and dispassionate. And we will continue to do so with Cameroon, with the committee of historians we have set up. And I fully accept this policy. And I say this as President of the Republic, born after decolonization in a continent that is 75% less than 25 years old. Dialogue with Africa cannot be hostage. A contemporary Pan-Africanism that uses. In a way, it's a post-colonial discourse with the backhanded support of today's imperialists, and thus this sort of combination of false intellectuals manipulating social networks, using the disarray of a youth and the interests of Russia or others in Africa. France isn't going backwards in Africa, it's reorganizing. When I read much of our press and many comments, people say, "It's terrible Africa, we're disappearing." No, we chose to move in Africa because we had to. We looked at our past relationship and memories. We factualize it, we assume it, we tell each other the truth. We had a secure relationship. It was of two kinds. Our commitment against terrorism since 2013 was successful. I'm in a good position to know about ingratitude. It's a disease that can't be transmitted to humans, and I say this for all the African rulers who haven't had the courage to show it to their public. None of them would be with a sovereign country today if the French army had not deployed in this region. And my heart goes out to our soldiers who sometimes gave their lives and fought for years. France no longer had a place there because we're not supplementary troops for coup plotters. So we left and then decided on this. This is the second part of reorganizing our military presence. Why did we do this? Because we had a sort of afterglow, and we ourselves were feeding a post-colonial discourse. Because in French-speaking African countries, there was this history, and so we had let a presence take root in our bases, and it still had a justification, so much so, was this France's influence? Hi everyone who served, it was used. In other words, all the activist networks I mentioned came to say, look at the French, they have a camp with 2,000 soldiers there, so they're going to prepare a coup d'état. And all possible disinformation was used against us. So we patiently, and I thank Jean-Marie Bockel. I'd like to thank him both personally and for this mission, because he's one of those who have experienced in his own flesh and the flesh of his family, what I mentioned earlier. Ministers and the Senate proposed this mission. It's up to the African heads of state to reorganize our presence. But make no mistake, it's us who have it. I don't think that because we're polycorrect and reorganizing ourselves, it should be turned against us by saying they've been chased out of Africa. He can tell you that in many of these countries we didn't want to remove the French army or even reorganize it, but we took it on together. That's what partnership is all about. And so, yes, we are in the process of opening up a new security and defense partnership in which we will have strategic bases. Djibouti is one of them, which is why it is of a completely different nature. And partners will be asked to express their defense needs. It will be permanent and stable, because it is regional. But we're going to do more training, equipment, information. More contracts for defense duration. We'll qualify the threat with them and create a new relationship, as we've done with Benin. An unprecedented relationship, as we're going to do with Nigeria, where we've started a strategic dialogue that didn't exist before, which was an aberration, and so on. An uninhibited strategic defense partnership with a future. And beyond that, the African continent is a continent of growth, and we're too cautious about that. And I say this because when I read the press, French spectacles are obsessed with French-speaking Africa. We need to look at French-speaking Africa with pride, because we have interests there and cherished friendships among leaders and in civil society. But in the end, we were right to make the first major trip from Nigeria to France a few weeks ago. It's only a country with 250 million inhabitants. Well done on your first visit to Kenya. You returned to Ethiopia for the second time and solidified an energy and investment strategy with South Africa, a country with a population of over 100 million. It's a continent with major emerging economies and growth potential. We need to rediscover our audacity, rethink our financing, and have a more ambitious strategy with our entrepreneurs, across all sectors, regarding the African continent. It's only seen as a continent of trade and economic opportunities. On the question of food, agriculture, innovation, arts, culture, and sport, we need to deploy a comprehensive export strategy to support French players working in Africa. Like all transitions, it's difficult because there are nostalgic people, because there are people who don't understand or don't want to understand, and because we're upsetting vested interests. But believe me, it's a good thing because the world is changing and we need to embrace it. Precisely, this new partnership. And speaking of African content, this is particularly what we want to do with the Maghreb. For me, one of the highlights of recent months has been what we've managed to build with His Majesty King Mohammed VI. Several of you accompanied me there a few weeks ago during the state visit. We have built a totally new partnership for the decades to come. It's ambitious in every way, and for me, it's the very essence of this new approach. He must be one of our relays. It's a reinvented African approach, meaning that we'll have Franco-Moroccan projects on the African continent, because it's another way of approaching this continent and changing the way we look at France when we approach it together. The Maghreb will also be part of this strategy. For me, at the heart of a positive agenda is the Maghreb Season, the Maghreb Fund, the Talent Academy, and we mustn't resign ourselves, despite the tensions that may exist with some, to the need to have such an agenda.
Thank you, families, for your time. What are you thinking? For me, he said this thing several times. I heard him saying that French soldiers or French army went to Africa. Without them, Africa will not be where it is today. I'm no historian. I don't know much about history. I just know little. Please let me know what French soldiers went to Africa to protect Africa from. Because from what I know, is the other way around. It's them deleting Africans in Africa. Even a month ago or so, Senegal asked them to apologize because they have to set fire on workers that has worked for them, and all they ask for is for their salary. Even Rwanda, many other countries that is not at the top of my head, even Mali recently, Niger recently. So I don't know what he's on about all the time. Without them, Africa will not be where they are today. Did Africa invited French troops to Africa? And when was that war that Africa invited French to come and help? Please, I don't know. I'm just asking so I can also learn from this. He's not happy about the way they are handling everything. And he confessed, if you listen carefully, that yes, they are mobilizing themselves. They are doing what they so they will come back, but they will come back in the terms of Africans. Um, I will leave you your families. I can say a lot, but I don't want to. Please leave comment. Let us know what you think about this statement, bold statement that he has given, as if Africa own France a big deal and they have to pay it whether they like it or not. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. It might be the reason why Faso 7 has to put it on their channel because it's a 1 hour speech that he gave. I don't really know what was going on before he decided to give this speech. I'll go back and watch it. I, I don't know, even if I watch, I will not understand it. I need to translate it before I will understand. But this is the one that is concerning Africa, and I think this is the reason why they share it with us on Faso 7. God bless you all. My family's credit to Faso 7 for sharing this. And yes, Africa should be ready because they are not going to leave them. They own France and they need to pay France. Whatever they own France, they have to pay France back because as so far as Macron is alive, President Macron is alive, they are not going to be set free. And I think any other leader that will come will feel that entitlement to do the same thing. Thank you, families. God bless you all, my returning families, new ones, those who are passing by, my VIPs, my kings and queens. God bless you all. I'm so grateful for your support, your time, your encouragement, your advice. Thank you so much. We are still waiting for the president of Burkina Faso in Ghana. I don't know. I might share that first or this. I'm still waiting for it. God bless you. See you soon. Bye bye.